The discussion surrounding... has it been that long? The discussion surrounding the power level of any killer's iridescent add-ons is hotly discussed by the community. They are the rarest in the Blood Web and seen as the most game-changing or results-impactful add-ons. But here's my question. If I always run double Eries, will I make enough blood points to even find double Eerie add-ons for every match? Will the blood points gathered using iridescent add-ons sustain themselves? This experiment came to me while I was perusing these discussions about the strength, or indeed sometimes the weakness, of these add-ons, and my thoughts eventually travelled to, but aren't these add-ons too rare to see every match? The purchasing behaviours of killers can differ from one another, and I just save my Eries, because it's actually the greens and purples which are usually the consistent workhorses. But in another way that I don't often dwell on, I am concerned about the supply of iridescent add-ons, and if relying on them for success is economically viable. I've spent time simply assessing the viability of yellows and browns, just because I feel assured that their supply cannot run dry. Eries also are costly. Not only does an ultra rare fetch the highest price, but you also have to purchase your way through the Blood Web to reach them, buying anything from rat livers to purple fog bottles along the way. They're often weighted to hang at the edges of the Blood Web. But if I threw all metagaming decision making, all normal purchasing decisions out the window, and just ran every iridescent add-on that I find, the instant that I found them, how would that go? Would I eventually get them for every match? Would it take some time and luck to build up to that point? Is it impossible, outside the realm of the most statistically unlikely circumstances? In my opinion, this has some implications for the balancing decisions. Functionally, I could save up and run brown add-ons only, which are in ample supply, and save up 100 Eries each, and then go on an iridescent rampage once my work is done. However, this is not the same as refilling your iridescent supply while you're using them. In one situation, my local survivor community are now facing low-tier add-ons every match, which aren't necessarily bad, they can be quite powerful. And in this situation, this would mean that across all survivor matches, they mostly don't see iridescent add-ons. Even in a situation where, for example, I switch to Trapper, run brown add-ons or even no add-on, and take all of those blood point earnings over to my killer where I intend to purchase double iridescent add-ons for, the survivor community would still be playing matches where they don't face double Eries because I was farming on a different killer without them. My immediate anecdotal working theory makes me presume that I will not find enough Eries to run double Eries every match. But around these parts, we trust, but we verify, and sometimes we don't even trust. So here's the conditions of the test. We are taking a fresh killer Blood Web. We are dumping all our saved BP into a different killer. We play matches of Dead by Daylight. When an iridescent add-on appears in the Blood Web, we always purchase them. Ebony Moris will not affect our purchasing decisions. In Blood Webs without iridescent add-ons, we will be as frugal as possible to simulate our extreme desire for iridescent power. If we have no Eerie add-ons to run, we use the next highest rarity, purple, then green, then yellow, and then lastly brown. This is to simulate a player experience where the player believes the highest rarity is the highest power level. During my test, there was a double BP modifier. I was compensating for this by not using any 100% plus BP offerings, only hollow shells and reeds. I will not be burning gameplay offerings such as maps, fogs, and oak offerings. This aims to simulate an experience where a player is always running the extra BP add-ons like Survivor Pudding, but outside of the Blood Point event, as it's a fairly large cumulative multiplier. I will still be purchasing puddings and bloody party streamers like normal to simulate a player wanting to maximize their blood points for the Eerie hunting purposes, and in this way, I will be making this little experiment more applicable to Dead by Daylight Blood Webs outside of the BP event. And who should I be running this experiment on? VECNA! At the time of filming, he's a new killer, their Blood Web is empty, I have to prestige them, I don't quite know what I'm doing with them, I have no add-ons for them, there's no VECNA archive challenges, it's perfect! For one such as I, it is only fitting that I be outfitted with nothing but the finest equipment available. Yeah, I dabble in Dungeon Mastery, how could you tell? Starting with a match with 0 add-ons, 1 perk slot, and not much in the skills department, I set off and got a 1k. After unlocking a tome challenge and simultaneously getting a prestige level with blood points attached, I got about 130 blood points to spend, and all of that got me from level 1 to level 11. Ooh. The 100% BP bonus for the current period was helping out, but again, I wasn't running 100% BP offerings to make this more relevant to non-Blood Rush event time. So I was having to make do with the Wreath offerings, and my god, they're unhelpful. But now I got 3 perk slots, so I can play with something that at least could pass off as a build. And it did in fact go better second round. I got a 3k, but not much more BP, strangely enough. You see, the Wreath add-ons, they only increase how fast you fill up the points in their category, and don't go past the blood point max for those categories. So of course, they don't actually get us more points. Now, we're moving through these blood webs slower than every other VECNA player playing at this time, and the big question floating over our heads is, where the hell are the Eerie add-ons? But at the 25th blood web page, we were answered, because we finally got our first Eerie add-on, a Vorpal Sword. And at this point, we have a few observations. Firstly, the Eerie's are appearing, but they're just taking a while to get here. Secondly, the edges of the blood web are being taken up by general perks. It's the first prestige of this killer, so we have to unlock our sloppy butchers and our shattered hopes. Because of this, and coupled with the fact that the expensive add-ons prefer to spawn on the edges of blood webs, it's a little harder getting the Eerie add-ons that we so desperately crave. And lastly, receiving Bloody Party streamers is a big deal. Running a Hollow Shell nets us about 60k. Hollow Shells and 2 Bloody Party streamers nets us 160k-ish blood points. This makes survivors sharing the joy an actually big contributor to our Eerie add-on hunt. So in a strange way, our biggest benefactors are in fact our opponents that we need to kill in order to level our blood webs. So don't forget to show appreciation by donating to your local survivor shelter, adopt the Jeff today, and get your Megs desexed. After 6 killer games, I got the next milestone, our first double Iridescent add-on. For those of you who don't know, VECNA's Iridescent add-ons spice up 2 of VECNA's spells, each with additional effects. The Orb causes broken, flying through windows blocks it, Mage Hand smashes drop pallets, and Skelly Boys come in only a pair, but they spawn lower and can't be ducked when they're launched on the same plane as the survivor. And it was a good match. Mage Hand smashing pallets is quite nice, as it functions a lot like the Masquerade invitation pallet breaking, so you can get that effect all year round with VECNA. This match was going to be a 4K until Ada literally snuck out of the trial. With my fucking hand! You bitch! And with one Bloody Party streamers, the match got us a tasty 116k blood points and pushed us all the way from 38 to 42. Underwhelming, to say the least. After that, and with no further Eerie add-ons to run, I did the only logical thing, Adept VECNA. And attempt 1 didn't go great, but I got this cruel yoink right at the end. And after recording multiple failed attempts, which I attribute to a lack of sweat along with VECNA's 3 perks seemingly needing to be paired with other perks to accentuate them properly, such as Weave-Weaving Franklins, but I absent-mindedly forgot to record the Adept that I did succeed in. Whoopsie daisy. So here's our next observations. We stopped seeing general perks to unlock at around level 50 of Prestige 0. At the end of Prestige 1, going into Prestige 2, this is where we started to see many Eerie add-ons. With the general perks gone, there were spaces for them to finally spawn. This included 2 double Iridescent add-on blood webs in short succession. Will the sudden influx of Eerie add-ons carry me through after Prestige 2 is attained? Moving through Prestige 2 and onto Prestige 3, morale was getting low. VECNA is an interesting killer, but forcing Eerie add-ons without experimenting with their other lower rarity, the more workhorse add-ons, I was getting antsy. I needed to experiment. I wanted to run Pearl and spell storing. I want this experiment to be done. I've got so many Bloody Party streamers and survivor puddings that I haven't been using during this event. Halfway through my final prestige for the experiment, where I'm going to call it, I got 2 matches in a row where the survivors burnt 2 Bloody Party streamers each. And thank God, because I was desperate to move on. And in the final moments of my experiment, Prestige 2, Blood Web 49, I run in to these fuckers. And who are these? Oh, they're worse than streamers. These are Comp Dead by Daylight mods. The Comp Dead by Daylight League that I'm in. To give everyone an idea and throw out a statistic I just made up, I would guess that less than 1% of any Dead by Daylight player has ever joined a Dead by Daylight Discord server to match up with other people to play 1v1 games. The place where survivors go to become true monsters in chase. Now, I'm not going to speak on their motivations going into a pub match, but if there were ever going to be survivors who could zero hook me and force me to run another match of Iridescent only VECNA, forcing me to run the highest rarity add-ons another round, preventing me from running my puddings and streamers during the double blood point event, it's these fucking comp enjoyers! So to say I was nervous about this final match, my attempt at earning the blood points required to get through to Prestige 3 was not an understatement. And they burnt a Mac bone, oh dear. We start, my spells are on the requisite beginning cooldown. 3 of them open chests on the far side of Suffocation Pit, a map where I haven't learned comp for properly yet, and Renato finds my fucking hand immediately. They're playing well, they're looping properly, I am not warmed up for this. These double Eerie add-ons are not what I'd run here. I'd probably be running some sort of Pearl of Power and Bag of Holding to increase my spell casting and stifle their magical item progression. I'm swinging wildly and badly. I am getting caught on the tile. Alright, Fang's injured. We got this nice simple LT wall, and fuck these middle tiles! They're so annoying right at the start of the match. Okay, here we go. That looks like a mistake. This down is my baby. They've got to be planning some sort of flashy rescue. I don't know. Wait, when the fuck did you steal my eye? In true comp fashion, there is no attempt at a pickup rescue. And that is much more scary, because I'm expecting 3 more gens to pop as I pick up this Fang or something. This is a distant hook, and I really need this pain res to stop a gen right now. We get the pain res! We got a game on our hands now. Leaving my next chase to harass the unhook so they don't get a free heal, and boom, 2 more gens popped. That's 3 gems popped for 1 hook state, and if you were wondering, yes, sometimes comp matches feel a lot like this. That's a bit of a misplay around Vorpal Sword Mage Hand. It must not be a common add-on or something. This main palette is a must break, so I waste no time thinking about it. And I get distracted by this Fang. And they're all gone. What the fuck was that, Fang? Oh, I am taking this. You're my tunnel. This body block will not work out for Vittorio. And Book of Vile Deeds makes getting the skeleton injury more tricky, but here I can deny the door for him. Wait, what happened? So the skeleton somehow intercepted Renato, who I injured like 3 minutes ago, and now I have 2 slugged with Fang on the hook. I should have started looking for a Cheryl and ended it right there, but this is a blood point farming game. So I just get the pain res, and at this point the mistakes have handed me pretty much the match. But I am not above tunneling, I'll tell you what. And hey, look at this! It wasn't long until I finally found that hand that I lost 800 years ago. How about that? Finally, one of these blind skeletons worked. Okay, Vittorio. Alright, Maya, let's make this a 1v1. Sort of. I've smushed some pallets already. Oi! I blocked that window! And after a good 1v1 chase, they're actually going to pop the final gen, thus ruining this set's win con for me. Come on, Vittorio. You can rescue. And what I mean by that is, Cheryl can leave, but I really need that eye back. and blink and you'll miss it, that's a scratch mark that I saw. But more pressing, there's the Cheryl that I didn't see, but the scratch mark was enough on its own, and I can essentially corner them now, and that's all she wrote. And with that, we got to Prestige 3, 150 blood webs, and what did we learn? After 150 blood web pages and running every Eerie I found, I had one Vorpal sword in the bank. And I was about to go through the earlier, smaller blood webs. So no, I don't think it's feasible to have enough blood points earned to purchase double Eerie add-ons every game. No matter how strong we think Eerie add-ons are, it's just not economically viable to keep finding them as you go and use them. We can still argue and discuss these add-ons until the end of time, that's totally fine. But we can always keep in the back of our minds, if we're ever worried about the power level of Eerie add-ons, they are the most decadent, overpriced, rarest add-on, and killers will inevitably run out of them unless killers decide to stockpile them somehow, in which case you won't be playing against Eerie add-ons. Of the 150 blood web pages we found, 30 of those pages had Eerie add-ons within them. 28 of those pages, it was just a single one of them. Only 2 had 2 Eerie add-ons in the same page. I played 9 matches without any Iridescent add-ons. I played 13 with 1 Eerie add-on within the build somewhere. And I played 9 with double Eerie add-on. So a little more than a third had 1 Eerie add-on, and a little less than 2/3 were the rest, either the doubles or the nothings all put together. We used 11 books and 21 swords. I couldn't stop fucking finding the swords for some reason. I also used a total of 27 purple add-ons. The average blood points I earned under these conditions was 103,000. The median was 73,300 blood points. This essentially translates to, I was mostly getting 65 points per match, but sometimes a survivor would burn bloody party streamers and then I would get over 150k. And I received a total of 21 bloody party streamers / cakes. So yeah, there's my little tangent on Iridescent blood web page economy. Hope you enjoyed it. I will say, I did see that announcement on Dead by Daylight, so if you are interested in a take on that 2025 killer that they teased, please subscribe and I will get back to you on my thoughts of that, and it will be, spooky, to say the least. Have a good night.